وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ثم أما بعد. For those of you who were not here at Jum'ah, how many of you were not here at Jum'ah? Okay, so a big amount of people were here at Jum'ah. So I'll just summarize what I said and we'll add to it, inshallah. Were you here?
Mentally, yes.
Mentally, okay. So do you know what I talked about?
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Huh? Okay. Well, if we think of Islam as a revolution, Islam is a revolution in a way. If you look at any revolution that came to change the status quo, right? But it was a comprehensive revolution. It started as a peaceful revolution, and then it became, or Muslims were allowed to fight back. So for 13 years in Mecca and 2 years in Medina, it was absolutely peaceful revolution. It was revolution against polytheism and worshipping other idols besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was a religious revolution. It was also ethical revolution. We know the tradition of Jahiliyyah was not ethical. It was a revolution in a sense that it was a social revolution against the caste systems and master and slaves and wealthy and poor, Arabs and non-Arabs. There was always discrimination. The revolution against the loyalty to the tribe, my tribe, right or wrong, right? لا يسألون أخاهم حين يندبهم في النائبات على ما قال برهانا. The Arab poet said that when we are asked to go and fight, we don't ask why. We go and fight, support our brothers, right or wrong, right? And this loyalty, Islam came to bring this loyalty to Allah and His Messenger and to the Muslim community and the principles. Rasulullah said, support your brothers whether he's doing wrong or being wronged. And then they asked, Ya Rasulullah, they asked, how can we support him if he's doing wrong? He said, by stopping him from doing the wrong. This is how we support your brother. So the concept changed. There was, of course, social injustice. Those who have so much, they set the rules, and the rules or tradition of Jahiliyyah, when they bury alive baby girls, women were not equal to men, or not even close. The strong tribes, they attack and take the other tribes as slaves and enslave people. Riba was the norm. Prostitution was the norm. In Mecca, the holy place. So Islam, in fact, came to change all these things. So we can think of Islam as a revolution, right? Ethical, social, intellectual revolution came to free people, to bring people out of slavery to freedom physically, and to free their mind from just following blindly the tradition of their forefathers, to think independently. The Quran is full of ayat that says, think about it. Right? Even if I brought to you something that's better than what you found your fathers doing. And this revolution came to change not only one particular aspect of people's life. Many revolutions come for freedom or democracy or to fight corruption, one single goal. But Islam was a very profound and comprehensive revolution. A revolution against what we can call Jahiliyyah. Term Jahiliyyah was mentioned in the Quran, right? وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَا تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. The Quran talked to Muslim women, in particular said, do not show off or don't use adornment or show beauty as you used to do in the time of Jahiliyyah. When women show parts of their body, don't do that like the people of Jahiliyyah used to do. Cover yourself, be modest, right? إذ جعل الذين كفروا في قلوبهم الحمية حمية الجاهلية. The hamiyya, the anger, or the loyalty of the tribe of Jahiliyyah. Right? Hamiyat al-Jahili. You don't, when you see someone from your tribe fighting someone else, you don't ask why, what's going on, who's right, who's wrong. Don't ask, just go and fight. My tribe, right or wrong. So the word Jahiliyyah was mentioned in the Quran, and Rasulullah used this term Jahiliyyah when one of his Sahaba, Abu Dharr, he had a conflict with Bilal, and he said, "You, the son of a black woman." And this is, the terminology of Jahiliyyah. Rasulullah, when Bilal went to Rasulullah and told him, he called him and he told him, "You still have Jahiliyyah in you. You have been Muslim for some time, but you're still behaving as if you are still living in Jahiliyyah." In other words, you did not change yet. You did not embrace Islam as a whole. Yes, you became Muslim, you bear witness, there's no God but Allah and Muhammad Rasulullah, but you still behave the way of Jahiliyyah. Islam did not change this part of you. Right? So Islam came to change ethical, social, spiritual, intellectual status that existed at the time of Jahiliyyah. This is not to say there was nothing good about Jahiliyyah. There was some good, by the way, in Jahiliyyah. They were very generous people. When you ask for help, people go and help you. They were very brave. They don't accept any form of humiliation. They all honor and respect the house of God, Al-Bayt al-Haram. So there are some good things that did exist during the Jahiliyyah. Some of the transactions and some of the traditions, Islam did not change because it was not bad, it was ethical, so Islam kept it the way it is. But when we talk about Jahiliyyah, we are not talking about an era, an era, a pre-Islamic era only. We are talking about a status. Muhammad Qutb, the brother of Sayyid Qutb. Sayyid Qutb is a very famous Muslim thinker and wrote Dhilal al-Quran, Fi Dhilal al-Quran, under the shade of the Quran. He wrote a book last century, more than 20 years ago, and the name of the book is the Jahiliyyah al-Qarn al-Ashrin, the Jahiliyyah of the 20th century. And he was talking about the concepts of Jahiliyyah that's even worse than the Jahiliyyah of the 6th century of Arabia. And of course, Sayyid Qutb used this terminology so much, comparing Islam versus Jahiliyyah. So there was Jahiliyyah, darkness, and Rasulullah came to bring people out of darkness to the light. So this took a revolution, right? So now, after 1400 years, we have the right to ask ourselves what remains of Islam and what remains of Jahiliyyah. For every revolution, there is counter-revolution. For every revolution, there's counter-revolution. The corrupt regimes, strong military regimes, sometimes the revolution can be very powerful and strong. So these corrupt, strong regimes, sometimes they have to give up some of their authorities because they cannot resist. The revolution is huge. But they got defeated. But they don't give up. If you study any revolution in the human history, you'll find this to be true. And as I give the example of what's called Arab Spring, right? Gaddafi is gone, but the people of Gaddafi are still working. They don't give up. Mubarak was gone, but the people of Mubarak, they came back much stronger and more even powerful than before, right? And so on. So sometimes revolutions win ground, and then the counter-revolution, the Jahiliyyah, would come back and try to fight and gain more ground from the revolution. And sometimes these revolutions die, like in the case of Egypt now, revolution is gone. Yes, there's many people who hate the status quo, but technically speaking, there's no revolution. It's over. Right? Unless something happened in the future, Allahu A'lam, everything is possible. As for now, it's dead. So what happened is that deep state of the corrupt regime was defeated in Egypt, for example, for a year, for two, and then they came back. They organized themselves, they wait for the right chance, the right time, and they came back very powerful. So if we look at Islam versus Jahiliyyah as a revolution and counter-revolution, we will find out the counter-revolution tried to come back at the time of Abu Bakr, didn't work. Because the Muslim Ummah, the revolution was very strong, very powerful. Not only the political regime, but Muslims in general were very powerful. Once the Prophet ﷺ died, then the war or the fight of apostasy, Hurub al-Ridda, took place. Interestingly, Umar radiallahu anhu, who was very powerful and strong and always tough, choose tough options, he was against this war. Number one, because people refused to pay zakah, and Umar said, Rasulullah said, we should not fight people unless or until, as long as they say, Nashhadu an la ilaha illallah. So if they say that, their money and their property, their blood is to be respected. But now these people, they say la ilaha illallah. They don't want to pay zakah. What can we do for them? And Abu Bakr was very powerful and strong. You see the personality changed. And he even accused Umar of being so tough in Jahiliyyah, and when he became Muslim, he became very lenient and soft. He said, what's the matter with you? You're so tough in Jahiliyyah, now in Islam you're so soft, and no, I will fight them. Who is going to fight with you? He said, I will fight them even if I have to fight them alone. Abu Bakr said that. But the army, the fighters are out of Medina, because Rasulullah sent them to fight the Byzantines under the leadership of Usama ibn Zayd, 18 years old. He said, okay, bring Usama and his army, fight these people first. He said, no, Rasulullah sent an army, I cannot, I have no authority to say no, don't go. Rasulullah sent them, they have to go. Because the order came from Rasulullah. I cannot reverse the order of Rasulullah. And Umar said, then you cannot engage in these two wars at the same time. The fighters are out. Who's going to fight all these Arab tribes? He said, I will fight them alone. This is how determined Abu Bakr was. And he's almost 2 years he spent in this to fight those who differentiate between Salah and Zakah. And he said this very profound statement, he said, أَيَنْقُصُ الدِّينُ وَأَنَا حَيٌّ? Is it possible that Islam decreases and part of Islam is deleted under my watch? That will never happen. I would die before this happens. And then Umar found out that that's the right thing to do. So, but the point is, many people came out of Islam immediately after the death of the Prophet. Because many people came to Islam only because Islam became so powerful. So, stay with the powerful. During Fath Makkah, in the 8th year after Hijrah, 2 years before the death of the Prophet ﷺ, and Abu Sufyan, he had to become Muslim. He became Muslim because there's no other option. And Rasulullah ﷺ was very generous to him, very generous. And he told everybody, whoever enters the house of Abu Sufyan will be safe. And Rasulullah does not want to kill people or to hold them, capture them, or to humiliate them, or to take revenge. After all what they have done, he came and forgave them, but don't fight. The only request, he said, don't fight, because if you fight me, I will fight you back. And I don't want anybody to be killed. Stay home. If you stay home, you are safe. If you stay in the Masjid al-Haram, you are safe. If you enter the house of Abu Sufyan, you are safe. Abu Sufyan was the leader of the campaigns against Islam and Muslims. And you are telling people, if you enter his house, you are safe? Yes, this is what it is. And Abu Sufyan had no other option. He became Muslim, and this is how it works. Right after Fath Makkah, there was a very profound and important battle called Ghazwat Hunayn, mentioned in Surah At-Tawbah, right? When two major tribes, Thaqif and Hawazin, two big tribes, right? They decided to fight. They came together and they joined and they decided to fight. So Rasulullah went to fight them, and they went between two big mountains, right? And they were, they established an ambush there. So the Muslim army was going, Rasulullah is in the middle, and all of a sudden these people came out shooting them, and everybody ran away. It's very difficult. The place is narrow, and the attack was sudden, and people start turning and running. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this particular battle by the name. Okay? This is the only time when the Muslim army was larger than the enemy's army. The first time. It used to be the opposite. But now, Muslims thought now we are a very huge number. Who can defeat this army? And this is what happened. People start running away. And then Rasulullah ﷺ stood up on his camel and started shouting, Ana Rasulullah, Ana Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Ana Nabiyyu la kadhib, Ana ibn Abdul Muttalib. And this incident in particular, it's a great evidence of his truthfulness, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At that time, if he was not a real prophet, he would hide himself or run with the people who run. But he announced himself, come back, people, where are you going? At that time, many people who just became Muslim yesterday, after the opening of Makkah, including Abu Sufyan, they wanted to watch what will happen. Thaqif and Hawazin, if he is able to defeat these two after Quraysh was down already, that would be it. But they have some hope that maybe Thaqif and Hawazin together, they can do something. Very powerful. And when people start running, Abu Sufyan was watching and said, لا يردهم شيء إلا البحر. Nothing will stop them from running away except the sea, the Red Sea. In other words, they will keep running. They cannot take this. And someone else said, اليوم بطل السحر. Today, the magic of Muhammad is ineffective or ineffective. The magic of Muhammad came to an end. As if Muhammad won all these wars before because of his magic. This is a counter-revolution. These people, they wanted Islam to be defeated. They couldn't do it themselves, but they wanted someone else to do it. It didn't work, and some people start coming back to Rasulullah. And after Dhuhr, this happened in the morning, after Dhuhr, all these Thaqif and Hawazin were captured as prisoners of war. They came out with all their cows and camels and women and properties, everything. They brought with them, and all these things were given to Muslims. And by the way, Rasulullah distributed all this money, gave it to the leaders of tribes to bring them Islam, did not take anything away. Then Rasulullah died, and then the Ridda happened, apostasy happened, and it didn't work. Counter-revolution was waiting and waiting and waiting for the right time. In the time of Umar, forget about it. It was Umar. And Umar is al-Faruq. He does the right thing. And then in the time of Uthman, as I mentioned, Uthman was one of the 10 people who were giving Jannah. Rasulullah gave him 2 of his daughters in marriage. He is extremely generous. He is one of the people of Quran who recite the entire Quran one night, pray 1 rak'ah, witr, the whole Quran. This kind of person was very generous, very spiritual, very humble, very nice, very soft. Many people took advantage of this softness. Not every one of taqwa is necessarily a good leader. He's one of the best. But he was so soft, in a way. And softness of the leader, it makes people eager to pressure him to get what they want. Long story ended by the assassination of Uthman. These rebels, protesters, they came in large numbers from Iraq, from Egypt, from out of Medina, from elsewhere. They came and they attacked Uthman and killed him. The killing of Uthman opened the door wide open for what we know today as al-fitnatul kubra, the biggest fitna that happened in Islamic history. And we are talking about 35 years after the death of the Prophet, after Hijrah. Huh? In Medina. Number of reasons. They said he is preferring his Bani Umayyah, because from Bani Umayyah, and he was hiring people from Bani Umayyah. Many of the Sahaba did not like the way he's ruling, and he took actions against them. Some of them were spilled out of Medina. You know, expulsion. They just you stay out, like Abu Dharr and others. His again softness and kindness. It make people eager to loudly and clearly speak against him. These are the main issues that many people not like about the way he rules. However, of course, killing him is a big, and Rasulullah told him when he was Sallallahu in a garden and he was at a well, and Abu Bakr asked for permission, and he said, the guy who was there, he said, let Abu Bakr come in and tell him and give him the good news of Jannah. And the guy told him and said, Rasulullah gives you the good news of Jannah and allows you to come in. So he came, and the Prophet put his feet in this well, in the water. And Abu Bakr came and sat next to him. And then Umar came. He told him the same thing. And then Uthman came. So he told him, let him in and give him the good news of Jannah with a trial and with fitna that will touch him, will affect him. And in other hadith, Rasulullah told him that they will come one day and ask you to take off your shirt. Never do this. And this was the ta'wil of Rasulullah, that they will ask him to, because they want him to resign. Of course, if he resigned at that time, someone else would have come and jumped on the Khilafah, and he refused to resign, and he was assassinated while reading Quran, staying in his home. And he said, I don't want anybody to fight to protect me. I don't want any blood to be spilled because of me. He refused anyone to go, and he could have fought against these people and killed them, but he refused. He was so kind, and the number increased, and then they jumped on the fence or the walls of his house, and they came and they killed him inside of his house. Huge fitna happened. We can talk about the details later on, inshallah. And the Muslim community were divided into two groups. And this division empowered the counter-revolution. This is a good time now, because the Muslim Ummah, when they come together, stay together, right, like one person, it's very difficult for the counter-revolution to come and strike back. But when this happened, this was the beginning of all kind of fitna that we still pay the price until today. Two groups. One group led by Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, Talha, one of the 10 people, Zubayr, another one of the 10 people promised Jannah, and Muawiyah in Asham. Muawiyah is the leader of Asham, was hired by, at the time of Abu Bakr, and Umar approved him, he was the leader there, and Uthman approved him. So he was almost for 20 years leading the community in Damascus, or Sham, or Syria today. And he's a very good politician, excellent politician. And there's something in Arabic called Sha'arat Muawiyah, the threat of Muawiyah. Sometimes he pulls hard, and sometimes he let go. And sometimes, and he was teaching his son this. What keeps someone in his position for so long? He knows how to handle people. Sometimes by giving gifts, sometimes by being tough, sometimes by getting married from this big family. So when he married their daughter, then they become loyal to him. He knows how to satisfy people. And people were happy because they enjoyed prosperity. It was just, it was fair. He knows how to rule, right? So the fact that Umar was happy with him, you know, Umar was very strict. That means that he was someone. He knows how to do politics and to run or to govern. Then this one group, and the other group was Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Many people, now Uthman was killed. Who is the most qualified one? Of course, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Who would deny this? Who is even can get close to them? So people came, the Sahaba gave Ali ibn Abi Talib bay'ah to become the Khalifa, to become Khalifa. He accepted because he saw this big mess, and he accepted to come to this position. But the other group refused to give bay'ah to anyone unless they take their revenge for Uthman, or to bring those who killed him to justice. Right? Al-intiqam, or al-tha' dam Uthman. Tha'. So Ali radiallahu anhu was right. He was right because he told them, we need to establish a government first, and then I promise I will do this. But you cannot just get justice in your own hand. You need to have a khilafah. We need to have a khalifa, legitimate, and then when I establish myself as the khalifa, then I will bring these people who killed Uthman to justice. They said, no, we have to do this business first. And of course, Ali was right. And he was the most qualified person. And Aisha regret later on that she left Medina to Mecca and Mecca to Iraq and fought against Ali ibn Abi Talib, and a lot of bloodshed, a lot of bloodshed. A lot of bloodshed in two major battles, Al-Jamal and Siffin. And Ali was very close from finishing this, but Muawiyah and Amr ibn al-As and others said, let's do tahkim, arbitration. And Al-Khawarij said, no. If you accept arbitration, then you are accepting the hukm of other than Allah. These are kuffar. He said, no. Ali said, no, they're not kuffar, they're Muslims. They said, if they are Muslims, why are you fighting Muslims? If they're not kuffar. And Ali and Abdullah ibn Abbas said, no, they're not kuffar, they are our brothers, they're Muslims. But they are wrong, and we have to fight them to stop their wrong. Do you think, if I fight them, do you mean to capture Aisha, the wife of your prophet, to take her like prisoner of war? He said, no, it doesn't work, because she's the wife of the prophet. He said, well, that's why they're not kuffar. So they are not kuffar. And in fact, they used to fight all day long, and when the salat time comes, they stop the war, and they go fight, pray behind Ali, and then they go back and fight, and then stop the war and pray together. They're Muslims. We can talk more about this, but when this happened, Ali was in power, you can say, partially, for 4.5 years, full of fighting and wars, internal issues. And then he was killed by his own people, who actually broke out of his group, and they killed the Kharijite, or the Khawarij. Khawarij means those who exited from the camp of Ali, and they considered Ali to be a kafir, and they killed him. He was coming out of his house to pray Fajr, the Abdul Rahman ibn Muljam. He killed him, stabbed him, and he was killed. He died soon after this. And then people went to Al-Hassan, the son of Ali, the older son, Hassan al-Hussein. Hassan is older than Al-Hussein. And gave him bay'ah to become the Khalifa. But Al-Hussein, who advised his father, don't go to war. He didn't want him to go to the second war in Siffin. But Ali saw it's a necessity. We have to do what we have to do. And then Al-Hassan, after 6 months, almost 6 months, he found out that the best thing to stop this civil war is to give up his right and to go and give bay'ah to Muawiyah and make Muawiyah one Khalifa in this bloodshed. He was like Uthman, no bloodshed. And he did that. And our Shia brothers don't talk so much about Al-Hassan, they talk more about Hussein. I'll explain to you why. So Al-Hassan went all the way to Muawiyah to give him bay'ah and to stop this civil war. And this year was known as the year of Jama'ah. This is the year of Al-Jama'ah. So this put an end to these 5 years of civil war, from the time of the assassination of Uthman to the time of the killing of Ali. Almost 5 years. So Al-Hassan decided that's it. If Al-Hassan decided to fight, this war would have gone on and on and on. Allah alam, how long would it take? But Al-Hassan decided to stop this by giving up his right and giving bay'ah to Muawiyah, one Khalifa. So Muawiyah became the Khalifa in Damascus still. All right? And for almost 15 years, he used to honor and respect Al-Hassan al-Hussein. They used to go to him, and he welcomes them and showed great generosity to them and respect and so on. In fact, both Al-Hassan and Hussein used to fight under the leadership of Yazid, the son of Muawiyah, in some battles. And Muawiyah became the legitimate Khalifa for all Muslims. Al-Hassan died soon after this, naturally. And then, in the last years of Muawiyah, he committed a big crime. A big crime, I call it crime, I'm responsible for this. By switching the system of Shura that brought Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and brought him to this position. Because he came in by the approval of everybody. When Hassan gave him bay'ah, everybody accepted that. So Islam as a revolution brought the system of shura. What was the system before? In Arabia, there is no central government, just leaders of tribes. Every tribe has its own autonomous power, and the head of the tribe is the leader of the tribe, right? But there is no central government. The central government established by Islam. So Muawiyah decided, then now I want to hire my son as my successor. And he went and he asked the governors of Medina and Mecca and Hijaz and Iraq and Egypt, everybody, to announce that we all give bay'ah to Yazid to be the successor of his father Muawiyah. And some of them have been pressured to do this, and some of them were giving gifts, and people, okay. And many of the Sahaba did not like this. Many of the Sahaba did not like this, because now we are switching from Islamic way to Jahiliyyah way. We are turning Islam into a kingdom. There is no, the term king never introduced in Islam. It was Rasulullah, then the Caliph or the Khalifa of Rasulullah, and then Amir al-Mu'mineen. At the time of Umar, instead of calling him the Khalifa of Rasulullah, you cannot add the word Khalifa of the Khalifa. No, they say Amir al-Mu'mineen. So Amir al-Mu'mineen is the Amir, the leader of the believers. Right? So now this Khalifa is supposed to come through Shura. Amruhum Shura bainahum. Rasulullah never said Abu Bakr or Ali or Uthman to be my Khalifa. He left it the community. Rasulullah could have said very clearly, I want this to be the Khalifa after me. Or choose. But some said he gave some hints, indirect ways, by when he got very sick, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I remember this, when alhamdulillah I got the chance to pray in the mihrab of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When the Rawdah is the mihrab, Rasulullah used to lead the salah there. Alhamdulillah I got the chance to pray there. And you just think about this history. Rasulullah was here every day leading people as an imam for salah. And he put his head here, and read Quran here, and give khutbah here, and give speech here. And then you remember that only 2 times in his life, someone else took this position. It was Abu Bakr. One time he went to reconcile between the families of Amr ibn Auf, and then he came, and Abu Bakr already started leading the salah. And Rasulullah, people clapped, and so Abu Bakr did not pay attention, and when he found out, Rasulullah told him to stay, continue, lead the salah. And he wanted to pray behind Abu Bakr. But Abu Bakr did not listen. He took one step back, and Rasulullah walked in. And after salah, he said, why didn't you stay as I told you? He said, it's very inappropriate for me to lead salah and pray behind me. It doesn't. So that's why ulama said the respect comes ahead of obedience. So Rasulullah told him to stay, but he did not listen. Because the level of respect is higher than the level of obedience. So, did he disobey the Prophet? Yes, the Prophet told him to continue, but he did not continue. And he said, I cannot do this. And the second time this happened, this mihrab, someone led the salah in the life of the Prophet ﷺ was Abu Bakr. When Rasulullah was very sick, in the last few days, he said, Muru Abu Bakr falyusalli bin nas. Let Abu Bakr lead the jama'ah. Aisha did not like this because, it's a bad omen and people not like to see anybody else leading salah in the presence of Rasulullah. So yes, he's sick, but people not feel good to pray behind someone. And he said for the second time, Muru Abu Bakr falyusalli bin nas. She said, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Bakr, his voice is not loud and he cries when he reads Quran, so maybe someone else. He said for the third time, I said, let Abu Bakr lead the salah. So many thought that's an indication that Rasulullah appointed to lead the ummah in his life. So this was an indication towards us, not clear statement from Rasulullah. It's left to the community, right? So what happened when this Yazid, people start giving him bay'ah, and there are plenty of reports. Muawiyah told his son, you have to be careful of these 3. These 3 people will give you a hard time. Zubayr, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Abdullah ibn Abbas, and Hussein ibn Ali. These three people are very influential, very powerful, and they will give you a hard time. Al-Hussein, radiallahu anhu, we all know the story. When Muawiyah died and Yazid became the Khalifa, and there was no shura, of course, Al-Hussein decided to do what? To fight. To fight for what? To me, the war between Yazid and Al-Hussein, look at their grandfathers. Who's the grandfather of Yazid? It's Abu Sufyan, the leader of Quraysh in the time when the Islamic Revolution won. And Abu Sufyan could not resist. And Al-Hussein is the grandson of who? So this tells you what was going on there. Al-Hussein found out that the counter-revolution is coming, replacing Islam, Shura, with monarchy, kingdom. I said, no, that should stop. If you open this door, what else will be taken from Islam, given to the Jahiliyyah? And he decided to go and fight for this. And we know the tragedy that happened at that time. They could have captured him, could have returned him, they could have negotiated with him, but they decided to be very bloody, very brutal. The way they killed him and his family, including women, all of them, in such dramatic way. The grandson of Abu Sufyan won this battle against the grandson of Muhammad. And to me, this is the counter-revolution coming back. Give it the name of Khilafah, give it the name of the interest of the Muslim Ummah, whatever it is. Whatever it is. But Islam brought the system of Shura, and then the counter-revolution brought this system of monarchy. And from that time until today, it's from father to son. A king dies, and the king pops up, right? And everybody knows who is the next king. And where are the people from this process? Forget about people. What are you talking about? We are the leaders. We are the owners. It's our land. It is our business. It's our power. Forget about people. Yeah, but there's Shura and Bay'ah and things. It's all names. It's Bay'ah and Shura and things. It's all just titles, names. Just names. And then from Yazid, from one king to his son, and then the whole dynasty finished by a new dynasty, monarchy, called Abbasids. And the Abbasids came again from father to son, family business. And the Ottoman, the same story. And where is Shura? Where is Islam? It's not there. When we read the Surah Ash-Shura, the practice of Rasulullah, never once the Prophet did Shura and went against Shura. Never. Not once. Not once. Even in Uhud, when he did Shura, the majority said, let's go out to Medina, fight them out. And the Rasulullah opinions was to stay in Medina to fight inside Medina. But he went to the majority of the people. And after what happened in Uhud, on his way, Allah told him, فَعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Forgive them and again practice Shura with them again. Don't let what happened in Uhud stop you from doing Shura. Keep doing Shura. But now Shura was killed by Muawiyah and Yazid when he hired his son Yazid to be the Khalifa. In other words, he took this right from the Ummah to himself. It is the right of the Ummah. It is the business of the Ummah. Now, Al-Hussein, the assassination of Hussein to me is very clear that the counter-revolution won against the Islam as a revolution. Now, when we go on and on and on, we will find out that many things that Quraysh could not do when Islam was very strong, but they were waiting and waiting until the right time came. We talk about racism, discrimination, black and white, Arab and non-Arab, wealthy and poor, men and women. And what even worse is that this discrimination has been institutionalized. It's not behind closed doors, it's very obvious, very clear. you'll be treated differently. If you belong to a particular nationality, if your last name is so and so, right? It doesn't matter if you are the most genius engineer or doctor or innovator, you stay in the line, you'll be treated like nothing. But if you are ignorant, stupid, but your last name is, huh? No, not even Smith, and we're talking about Muslim word, right? If your last name is Smith, or I don't want to mention names, but big families in this country, you'll be treated like a king. Your passport determines the kind of treatment you'll receive. If you're good caught stealing something small, your hand will be cut, and this is Sharia. But if you are big, millionaire, well-connected, or a prince, and you do whatever you want, nobody can dare even to ask you. And we still call this Sharia, we still call this Islam. What kind of Islam? Is this Islam of Muhammad or Islam of Quraysh? Personally, in Mecca and Medina, I was opening my eyes. I tried to see the fingerprints of Quraysh and fingerprint of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can see both. You can see both. So what happened is that the Jahiliyyah is not totally defeated, and Islam cannot be totally defeated. What we have now is synthesis, hybrid of both. And Jahiliyyah could not come back in the name of Lat and Al-Uzza, Abu Jahl, but they took another Islamic names. Yeah, we have Sharia. We cut hands, but not all hands. Not hands are equal. Right? We stone people, but not all people. Just the low-class people can be stoned. Right? So Sharia is tough and strict when it comes to, poor people, low-class people, but high-class people, they're out. They are good. They are owners of all these TV stations that have like video clips and all these naked women there, but it's owned by big guys. You cannot question them. But if a Muslim woman just walks with her face is not covered, she'll be in trouble. And again, this is what it is. This is what it is. I'm not saying that to say that we are living in total Jahiliyyah, but we have some Islam and we have some Jahiliyyah. Our job is to evaluate ourselves. We call this is Islam, but that's Jahiliyyah. Let's call it Jahiliyyah. And Muhammad Qutb talked about the Jahiliyyah in the 21st century. Forget about the West. We are living in Jahiliyyah, okay, call it Jahiliyyah, whatever. But look at what remains of Quraysh tradition, the Jahiliyyah tradition before Islam. Islam came and made a huge change. But Jahiliyyah came back. And now what we have is, again, synthesis of both. I remember when Rasulullah said to one of the Sahaba, you still have Jahiliyyah in you. And now we have a lot of Jahiliyyah. And again, in the name of Islam, in the name of Sharia, in the name of Shura, in the name of Bay'ah. All these Islamic names have been twisted very badly. When we talk about Shura, in Muslim world now, when we talk about Bay'ah, when we talk about equality, you are all equal, people can give beautiful khutbahs about equality in Islam. Black and white are the same. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. But in practice, they are not equal. You are not equal. In Mecca and Medina today, if you are Arab, different from an Arab, and if you are an Arab belong to a particular country, then you are not like the Arabs who are coming from other countries. And if you are Arab from this particular country, belong to a particular family, you are not like the Arab from this country who belong to a different family. Your last name matters. And we still call this Islam, Islamic system, and Bay'ah, and Shura, and Islam, and Sharia. So, brothers, we just need to reevaluate our behavior. We can talk about our principles. Everybody will agree. Islam is the religion of equality. Islam is the religion of Rahmah. Islam is the religion of Shura. Islam is the religion... That's principles. When we talk about principles, we are all in agreement. But when we look at our practice and what we do, Do you know that some Muslims, they use the word abd, that means slave in Arabic, to black. Up until now, the word black equals slave. So he works with abid. Abid means he works with black people. We're still using this. We're still using this. Huh? Yes. 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 I've seen, I heard it myself. When someone told me that he works with abid, I said, well, brother, what do you mean by this? I said, but I mean black. So why the word black equal to abid? Say, oh, this is, I'm sorry, this is how we say it. Is how we see it. You say it. And you have to be, careful what term you're using. But we have this discrimination in time of marriage. If you are not from the same tribe, you are not equal to marry our daughter. If you are not, speak this language, you are not qualified. Forget about the brotherhood that Islam established was replaced with, we are going away from Islam and closer from Jahiliyyah in many aspects. In many aspects. Most of our economical system, if not all Muslim countries, is based on riba, interest. Look, name any Muslim country. They are investing their money in Europe and the United States based on riba, with interest. They sell their oil the same way. So we have to be able to evaluate ourselves, to ask ourselves, what's Islam and keep it, and what's Jahiliyyah, and we need to replace it. If you can't change it in the ummah level, change it in the community level. If you cannot change it in the community level, change it in your family level. If you cannot even change it in your family level, change it within yourself. But we have to be careful, because there are a lot of Jahiliyyah took the shape of Islam, and we sometimes, because we like it, we keep it. We have to separate the two. I will stop here, inshallah, and if you have any comments or questions, inshallah, I'll be happy to address it. Jazakumullah khair. Shukran.
Are these Yazidis they talk about now are the same as what they were at the time of Muawiyah?
Yazidis?
Yeah, they call the
No, Zaydis. Zaydis? Yazidis? Oh, no. That's totally different. Totally different. But they have their roots to Yazid ibn Muawiyah also. Yeah, they have their roots there, but they are different. I would say Bani Umayyad, they have done wonderful things. To be honest, when we read history, we have to read history what's good and what's bad. And what we do is that we don't really read history. We read just the bright side of our history, and we don't like to read anything that can change the image, the perfect image we have. And we have to be careful that we love the Sahaba. It's part of Iman, to love the Muhajirin al-Ansar, right? But who are the Sahaba who deserve to take this name, number one? Number two, is it possible that Sahaba have made mistakes? If you said this Sahabi, he made a mistake, does it hurt your Iman, your faith? Absolutely not. Because they themselves, they admitted they have done mistakes. They are not ma'soom. They are not infallible. They have made some ijtihad, some, they thought this is the right thing to do, they did it, and then they found out, or we can say that was not the right thing. It was not right for Aisha. We love Aisha. She is the mother of the believers, but she did something wrong. And when Ali was, talked about her, she said, Wallahi, I know she is the wife of our Prophet, and the Prophet died in her house and buried in her room, and she will be the wife of the Prophet in Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent her to us as a fitna. It's a fitna. Whether we follow her or for the truth. We love her, but we love the truth more than her. She made a mistake. And she regretted that she left her home and she went all the way and she was part of this fight against Ali. Yeah, they made mistakes. Obviously. We still love them. We still respect them. But we need to learn from our history. We cannot learn from our history when we always talk about the bright side. And guess what? Others will study our history and present it to us. He said, no, 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 I cannot imagine. This is what happened. This is what Tabari said. This is what Ibn Kathir said. This is what Al-Razi said. This is what all your scholars, your historians. It's your history. 3 of the 4 truly guided caliphs were assassinated. Umar, Uthman, and Ali. But Umar was killed by a kafir, Majusi. The Persian Abu Lu'lu'ah, Majusi. Because when Muslims invaded Persia, Iran today, that was a huge thing, huge civilization, just came to an end, and Muslims came there. And Umar was still, by the way, this is one of the reasons why Umar is very much hated today in this part of the Muslim world, because of that. Because of that. And that's why a Persian Majusi guy came all the way from Persia. He went and he prayed behind Umar in this same mihrab in the Rawdah, and stabbed Umar Salat al-Fajr. Stabbed him, and he died very soon after this. And who killed Uthman? Called and quote Muslims. And who killed Ali? Some people who consider themselves Kharijites. This is our history. We will not learn from history until we read it correctly. Read the history, find the facts, and then analyze it and reach a conclusion. But what we do, of course, we love all of them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward them and to forgive their sins. And that's what we do when we go to Medina. Going to Medina, to me, is just going to visit graves. The grave of the Prophet, Abu Bakr and Umar, this is what we visit. And then you visit Baqi', visit Shuhada Uhud. You visit and remember history. So to me, Hajj and Umrah, you are living history. You are traveling through history, not like reading a book of history. You're reading and living history. So when we read this history, we have to be just objective. Just read everything and say, this is what happened. We love the Sahaba, we love principle, we love the truth. Right? When someone makes a mistake, yeah, he made a mistake. But this mistake is very small comparing to his contribution, huge contribution. So may Allah forgive his shortcoming, and may Allah reward him for what they have done for us. Right? And we have to be aware of this counter-revolution, because it takes the name of Islam. And we sometimes, because we are emotional and we say, oh, alhamdulillah, Islam is good, everything is going fine. And that's why when Dr. Tariq Ramadan wrote his very famous opinion regarding hudud in Islam, cutting hands and stoning people to death, he said, all this must stop. Because all these hudud should be applied when all people are equal under the law. And when people got the chance to work and to live with freedom, and when people are equal. That's Islam. Islam is a package. You cannot just take the law and apply it partially and ignore the other. So Islam says all people are equal under the law. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, what destroyed the nation before you is that when the wealthy, influential people steal, they are forgiven. And when the poor people steal, they cut their hands. That's the Islamic revolution. When a wealthy, famous woman from a very noble family stole something, and they sent Usama. Usama is al-Hib ibn al-Hib, the one that Rasul loves him so much. Young man, Usama, can you talk to the Prophet just to give an exception to this woman? And Usama came to Rasulullah and said, Rasulullah, would you please forgive her? She stole something. And Rasulullah's face turned red. And he said, أَتَشْفَعُ فِي حَدٍّ مِّنْ حُدُودِ اللَّهِ? You are interceding, making shafa'ah for her against one of the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he made a khutbah, he called everybody to come. And he stood sallallahu in the masjid, and he made this powerful and profound, meaningful statement. When he said, this is what destroyed the nation before you. What we call today the rule of law, and equality in law. This is what destroyed nations before you. That they have two levels of law. One law for the wealthy and one law for the poor. And he said, Wallahi, if my daughter Fatima stole something, I will be the one to cut off her hand. No exceptions. Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, ﷺ, to be treated like all our women? Yes. This is Islam. What we live now, what we see now, that's Quraysh. That's Jahiliyyah. That's not Islam. That's not Islam. When some are above the law and others are just And we call this Sharia. We have Sharia, alhamdulillah, cut hands. Cut hands of who? Why did he steal? Did you provide a job for him? So how about those people who steal also and drink alcohol and have, all these troubles? Nothing? No, nothing. Don't ask. Don't ask about them. So that's the tradition of Quraysh, not Islam that Rasulullah. So now we can see this big gap between our principles, Islam, the beautiful religion, and our behavior. Why? Because we replace Islam with the old Jahiliyyah tradition. So we have both. We need to clean ourselves from Jahiliyyah and try our best just to be true followers of Rasulullah ﷺ, to understand our beautiful Islam and try to live it as much as we can. Allah Ta'ala. Now, it's one aspect, yeah, one of the aspects, yes. You mean Al-Hasan and Muawiyah? Between Al-Hasan and Muawiyah? Oh, after Uthman, okay. And that's why I said Ali was right, because many people give him bay'ah. Well, shura is a process. Keep in mind, shura is you need to find a process to practice shura, right? So shura is a concept, is a principle. How to practice shura, it's up to you and I. Let's say that we want to establish a new organization, right? A new masjid, a new organization for Muslims, right? So we have to serve shura through different mechanisms. So let's say we will have membership and all members have the right to come and cast their vote and will go with the majority. This is one of the mechanisms. Or, in other words, we will, in this town or this village, we will ask the heads of the families only. So bring the heads of the families, Ahl al-Hall wal-Aqd, and then ask them, what should we do, whom should we, if they all agree on one person, these heads of the families would represent their families, khalas, then as if everybody voted. In the old days, Umar would ask the opinion, not of everyone, it's difficult to bring everybody, but he would bring the experts, Ahl al-Hall wal-Aqd, the people with experience, wisdom, and so on, and he asked, what should I do? And they tell him, if all of them agreed on something, he would consider this shura. So shura is a principle. How to practice it, it's up to you and I to decide. And that's why we can see democracy, as we speak about today, as a mechanism, can serve the purpose of shura, right? So cast your ballot. Now, we have representatives. So you, instead of asking everyone of the nation, right, what do you think about this? Let's have representatives. So every state would choose one representative, and then they have parliament. So this parliament represents the entire country. So when the parliament vote on something, this means, so all this is open for you and I to choose, for the community to choose. Whatever mechanism you think is right, fine. But you need to serve shura one way or the other. So just to answer your question, what happened at that time is known in our history as fitna, because the Muslim community were not in agreement on which one has more priority. To bring those who killed Uthman to justice, or to appoint a new Khalifa. It makes a lot of sense to choose a Khalifa first, and this Khalifa will choose his cabinets and government and so on, and then with this power that he got from the community, then he would use this power and authority to bring these people to justice. But if there's no Khalifa, you have your group and he has his group and she has her group and everybody's fighting everybody, that doesn't make sense. So that's why Ali was right and they were wrong, right? But Ali was the Khalifa, and he was acting as a Khalifa because he got enough bay'ah from big amount of people that gave him the legitimacy to act as a Khalifa. And he was acting as a Khalifa. And when he did so, he did not abuse this power. He did not call them kuffar. he did not call them, he said, إخواننا بغوا علينا. قالوا هم كفار قال بل من الكفر فروا. They escaped from kufr. They came to Islam. How can we call them kafir? He did not practice the concept of takfir today. You are saying this, you are kafir, you are kafir, you are kafir. These groups that just keep pushing people out of Islam. Ali was fighting them, but he said they're not kuffar, they're our brothers. They're Muslims. But they were wrong. And it was very obvious that the huge amount of the Sahaba, they gave bay'ah to Ali, and Ali was the legitimate Khalifa. That's why they were wrong. They should have accepted Ali as a Khalifa, and then they should have pushed him afterwards to bring those who killed Uthman to justice. And he promised to do that. But radiallahu anhu, for the 4 years and a half he was in power, he was busy with all these internal issues. Right? So what Al-Hassan did was called Amul Jama'ah. Because of that, he said, you know what? Nothing will put an end to this civil war except just me getting out and accept Muawiyah as a Khalifa. And that's why it was given to him. And Muawiyah became the legitimate Khalifa. But again, Muawiyah just decided, no more. I will decide, and my son will decide for his son, and everybody will keep it within Bani Umayyah. It's Bani Umayyah coming back. And they killed not only Al-Hussein and his family, but they did even worse than this. When you go to Mecca, and every time someone sees me, how about what happened in Mina? What happened in Mina? Were you there? This is the first question everybody asks, right? And when I think about this crane that killed 100 plus people, and this Mina thinks 700 people, think about it. There's an army around Masjid al-Haram throwing stones to kill Abdullah ibn Zubayr. That's Bani Umayyah. Abdullah ibn Zubayr was also giving bay'ah in the Hijaz area, and he announced himself Khalifa for 5 years. But Bani Umayyah sent the army, surrounded Mecca, or Kaaba, throwing stone, and part of the Kaaba were destroyed in the season of Hajj. Because Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he started losing the battle, and he stayed in the masjid. He sought protection in Al-Kaaba. And they came after him, they killed him there, and they put his body on a pillar for a few weeks. So people can see him. See, this is what we're going to do to you. This is how bloody. Inside Al-Masjid Al-Haram, in the month Al-Haram, Shahr Dhul-Hijjah. I'm spilling so much bad part of our history, but this is our history. And this did the same thing in Medina. And many houses in Medina were burned. And people were scared in Medina. It's mulk, it's kingdom, it's control, it's power. It has nothing to do with Muslim community interest. It's not serving. No, it's we came to stay. And did not go peacefully. They came also with another fight with the Abbasids, and the Abbasids won the war, and a new era started. It's mulk, as Al-Mawdudi named his book. It's mulk, not khilafah. That's not. Don't deceive us by saying khilafah. Okay, it's all about mulk. It's our family, it's our people, and this we can see this in everywhere in the Muslim world. It's a family name, the royal family name. It has to stay within us. We'll do whatever it takes. Killing people, imprisoning people, burning people, doesn't matter. Are power hungry. How you call it khilafah? You are deceiving yourself and deceiving who? So again, shura is a principle that can be served in a civil way. Imam Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali made a wonderful statement. I was reading one of his books, and he said, the Westerns learned about democracy through a lot of wars and fighting. When you talk about the Enlightenment era, 18th century in Europe, and when Western thinkers wrote about democracy as the best way, they went back to the story of Athens and Sparta, and they said, okay, let's, John Stuart Mill and others, they said, let's think about this political system that stopped wars, because people fight for power. We need to stop this. Can we see transition of power peacefully? And he and others wrote about democracy. But they learned democracy we enjoy in America here is not perfect, number one. Number two, it came after what? After a long time of civil wars. Shaykh Muhammad al-Ghazali said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this ummah shura as a gift. You don't have to fight for it. Muhammad sallallahu came and Al-Quran told him, this is the best way to have this peaceful transition of power. Let the people choose. It's for free. You don't have to go through this. So when you think about Westerns from the time of Athens, ancient Athens, until the 19th century, centuries of war and fighting and civil wars. And now we have this transition of power. One president leaves, another president comes, and this peacefully. After centuries of fighting. But for Muslims, it came for free. From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this gift, you ummah. Take this. This is the way to go. It's practiced for a very short period of time, and then the Muslim ummah start going out of this. And we don't have shura. And now it is very funny. We are arguing whether democracy is halal or haram. What are you talking about? So what's the alternative? Democracy is bad. It's kuffar. It's Western production, and it's not for us. So what do you have? They have democracy. What do you have? We have shura. But you have it in the Quran. You don't have it in reality. Quran says, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَ بَيْنَهُمْ وَشَاوِرُهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. We have it in the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the book. Show me one single Muslim country that practiced shura. I would challenge you. You will not find one. Because we are more of Quraysh than of Islam. Turkey, its institution said it's a secular country. This is what the constitution says. Right? And the president says that. I'm not an Islamist. I'm secular. We are here to serve our constitution, and we are a secular country, period. Maybe there are good people there, but the system is what it is. Right? And by the way, they are practicing democracy. That's more democracy than shura. All right? So if you don't like democracy, what's the alternative? The alternative, theoretically, is shura. Are you following shura? No. So what do? We are justifying everything the powerful people do. Whether you're a writer, a religious man, or a scholar, or your job become justifying what the powerful people do. Justifying and legitimizing. When we say, MashaAllah, our king or our president came through legitimate shari'i shura and bay'ah. Are you kidding yourself? What are you talking about? Who gave shura? Who was part of this shura? What is the process? And what is that? When we have people who have billions of dollars in the same country, when some rain destroy villages of poor people in the same country, one palace, $30 billion, or one of these princes, they own all these gardens and palaces and cars and billions of dollars, and he has no job, by the way. He does not know anything. Because just part of this royal family, he gets his share. And people die out of hunger. And just some small crisis, they have nothing. What is this? If this image, an image of Quraysh or an image of Islam after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's much more closer to Quraysh than Islam. Well, you would argue it's worse than Quraysh, but it's bad enough to say it is more of Quraysh than of Islam. So my point here is that we have these two things. We have Salah and Zakah and Hajj and Umrah and Quran and things. That's part of Islam. We have hijab, part of Islam. People, celebrate Ramadan and some people give Zakah. And so we have some Islam there. Islam, nobody can destroy Islam. And all these stupid groups who try to anti-Islam things, they're just giving more power to Islam. If they know, they just know. No one can destroy Islam. Islam came to stay. But how much of Islam and how much of Jahiliyyah we have? In our political system, in our economical system, if our social system, our behavior, our tradition, you will find plenty of Islam, plenty of something that totally against Islam. So,
Do you think one of the examples of Shura in modern world is the Tunisian National Dialogue Quartet that they successfully found a democracy?
and who came out of this? The counter-revolution. The assistant of Ben Ali became the president today. The counter-revolution came back. That's a good example. That's a very good example. When you have really Shura and democracy, I mean, Ben Ali was just one corrupt individual, but he was the head of a huge pyramid of beneficiary of his corruption. And these people came back. You want Shura? I'll come back. You want civil war? We are more ready than you. If you are peaceful, I'll come back through democracy. And they came back. And tomorrow we never, some bombs here and there, martial law and emergency law, and now forget about Shura, no more that, we need to fight terrorism. And everybody can do anything in the world now under the name of fighting terrorism. All terrorist states, Russia, United States, Israel, are fighting terrorists in Syria now. Isn't this ironic? All these terrorist states are going in Syria. Why? We are fighting terrorism. Bad people there. The whole world is fighting in Syria. Right? The United States, with their friends, Turkey, are fighting in Syria, and of course, Turkey is fighting the Kurds, and the Kurds are the friend of the United States. You don't understand anything. The Kurds are the friends of the United States. Turks are friends of the United States. Turks are the enemies of the Kurds. The United States is supporting some rebels against Al-Assad, right? Iran and Syria are fighting those who fight against Al-Assad, including ISIS. But some of these rebels are against Saddam, are good people, and some of them are bad people. Everybody's, what's going on? It's a big mess, but the point here is, under the name, just give a nice name and do whatever you want. We are there to fight terrorism. Fight terrorism. So in Syria, now the counter-revolution is in power. And once they are in power, they can reset the whole system. No. We cancel the election now. Look what these terrorists did. They bombed here and killing tourists. No. Freeze everything. No more democracy. Put these people in jail. Freeze everything. Alas. So democracy in Tunisia is very weak, very, very iffy, up in the air. It's good. They got the Nobel Prize now because they were Islamists. They were kind of smart. They did not came to power not to take the heat, but they have their presence there. Allahu A'lam, how long would this stay? But it's enough. We're talking about one single place that's very incomplete, Shura, there. But we don't know what will happen in the future. We're living in a very difficult world. So for us as Muslims, there is no other way. With this kind of Islam, that half and half Islam and half Quraysh, half Jahiliyyah and half Islam, this is what we have now. And this will not take us anywhere. Will not take us as a Muslim ummah anywhere. Unless we get rid of Jahiliyyah and replace it with real Islam, who are serious about being Muslims, then we can expect something. But with this half and half, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We either have to take Islam seriously or live with the Jahiliyyah we have, with some Islamic aspects, or Islam with some Jahiliyyah aspect. It's not going to work. Allahu A'lam. Last question. Yes. This is another thing I mentioned in the khutbah, that just looking at Al-Kaaba, it reminds you of the fingerprints of Quraysh. Racism, caste system. This door is any door in the world. It's supposed to be in the ground level so you can enter it. So why would have a door of the masjid that high? Rasulullah said to Hadith al-Bukhari, read it. It is your people, he said, your people of Quraysh, who raised this door up to control who comes in and who comes out. Not anybody can come in, come out. The one that they allow to come in. You have to be like a prime minister, or a king, or a president, or something big in order to be allowed to enter the Kaaba. But originally, the Kaaba had two doors. This door was down, the ground level, and there was another door against it, next to it. So you enter from here and exit from there. But they closed one door and raised this door again. It's Quraysh tradition. And Abdullah ibn Zubayr, radiallahu anhu, he was the Amir in the Hijaz area. He rebuilt Al-Kaaba the way the Prophet wanted to do it. So he included, in Al-Kaaba was bigger than this. Hijr Ismail was included, two doors. He did wonderful job. But the Umayyads came and killed him, and they destroyed Al-Kaaba, and they built it Quraysh way. Can you believe this? So every time I look at Al-Kaaba, I said, wow, this is not Qawad Ibrahim. That's why the two corners, the black stone and the corner before, is our original corners. But the other two corners were not supposed to be here, not to include the Hijr Ismail. The Kaaba should be even 1/3 bigger. But when they collected funds to rebuild the Kaaba, the money was not enough, so they built it smaller. The Kaaba today is smaller. It's built the Quraysh way, and they excluded the Hijr Ismail, it was out. So Rasulullah ﷺ said to Aisha, if you want to pray inside Al-Kaaba, pray in Hijr Ismail. This will, as if you prayed inside Al-Kaaba. And when the Umayyads came and killed Abdullah ibn Zubayr, they changed it and they brought it back to Quraysh way. For political reasons, obviously, because Abdullah ibn Zubayr took the credit of doing something that the Prophet ﷺ wanted to do, but he did not do it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because people were just coming from Jahiliyyah. He said to Aisha, لَوْلَا أَنَّ أَهْلَكَ حَدِيثُ عَهْلٍ بِجَاهِلِيَّةٍ. If it was not that your people are just came from Jahiliyyah to Islam, I would have rebuilt Al-Kaaba this way. But because they just came to Islam, I don't want to offend them. They do not feel good about it, so I'm not going to do it now. So Abdullah ibn Zubayr later on said, we are all born Muslims. We are not coming from Jahiliyyah. We are born in Islam. Nobody will be offended. Let's do it. Rasulullah wanted to do it this way. Let's do it this way. And he did. He did. And then the Umayyads came, killed him, and destroyed Al-Kaaba and rebuilt it Quraysh way. So everywhere in Mecca and Medina, you can see Quraysh fingerprint, and you can see Islam. You can see both. And this applies to our Muslim Ummah in general. So, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.